great honor for me to introduce the mayor today. I remember one of the first encounters I had with Mayor Brown. It was a terribly cold and windy fall day, and we were planting a tree together to commemorate Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The mayor braved the cold and stood with a very small group of us as we huddled against the wind and dreamed of a day when we wouldn't have to have a special month to bring awareness to the violence around us. That day, I was truly impressed with the mayor's genuine care and concern. And since then, I've seen that care and compassion demonstrated over and over again in a variety of ways. I admire him greatly, for his decisions and actions come from a belief in doing the right thing. It's not always the most popular thing, but Mayor Brown has had the courage to stand up for what he believes in, and our city is the better for his leadership. Please join me in welcoming our mayor, the Honorable Michael Brown.
Well, before we get started, though, I'd like to take just a moment to remember someone very special to Grand Forks. This past week, we lost a pillar of the community, Kurt Magnuson. And he and his family have epitomized how the foundation of the community is based on people like Kurt, who allow us to become what we are. And we can see over mountains because we stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's giants like Kurt Magnuson. So I'll just take this moment. Thank you. Now, it's good afternoon and welcome. I'd like to thank Bruce Morlock and the Red River High School Jazz Band for their wonderful performance, and the agreement was the longer they played, the less I had to talk, and that was very popular with everyone who was polled on that issue. And these fine young men and women will be involved in the very first international band exchange with our sister city in Sarpsborg, Norway this May. And what a wonderful opportunity to represent Grand Forks on the world stage. And they don't have to stay for the whole speech if they have to get back to class, I understand. So, unless they get credit for being here. So I'd also like to thank my wife, Ann Brown, my family, my nurses, my city staff, and to everyone who makes this job as rewarding as it is. And I think in news there's a thing called a scoop. So we're going to scoop the other media today and announce that Dave McFarland has been named the 2007 Small Business Person of the Year. Please. But we all know the credit goes to his wife, Kathy. So, yes. I'd also like to thank my other boss, Altru Health System, where last year we saw over 1,500 births. And right now as we speak, the coach from Nebraska Kearney, Coach Russell, is in labor here at Altru. So, and they played tonight for the chance to move on, so we'll see how that goes out today. So our reputation has spread that far. And I want to also take a moment to recognize the men and women of our armed forces who are fighting the war on terrorism in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I'm overwhelmed with pride that the people of Grand Forks are doing their part to support our nation. And please help me recognize Colonel Hall. Would you please stand? And the members of the National Guard. We also have the National Guard with us today. If the National Guard would please stand, members of the National Guard. Thank you. This is a historic time for our community, and anniversaries are generally recognized in multiples of 5. We have 2 of them before us. Today marks my 5th State of the City address, and next month our community will commemorate the 10th anniversary of the 1997 flood. That event conjures up mixed memories and has given us, and we hope the country, unique perspectives on disaster recovery. Perhaps the most important lesson learned is that local leadership sets the course for recovery, and that it takes the efforts of many people, citizens, business owners, elected officials, government partners, volunteers, and disaster relief workers to successfully bring a community back. With that, let me recognize and say thank you to East Grand Forks Mayor Lynn Staus and his team. And your leadership on the brink of disaster, through the recovery, and still on the forefront today has paved the way for our shared accomplishments. So thank you, Mayor Staus. I can't think of a bigger accomplishment than the imminent completion of the flood protection project. This momentous landmark resulted from steady and deliberate action. The tangible implications are remarkable. Just last spring, as the waters rose, we felt relief instead of panic, and that was our 6th largest flood in our city's history. 6 years ago, we spent nearly $4 million to battle a flood that crested at about 45 feet. Last year, with a new flood protection project in place, the flood fighting cost was less than $250,000 for a crest that was 3 feet higher. That's more than $3.75 million saved by local taxpayers. When we commemorate the 1997 flood anniversary in April, our theme is rebuilt, renewed, reborn. And that continues to be true in Grand Forks, and we've come a long way in the last decade. This is our opportunity to recognize the hard times as well as the contributions of our residents and neighbors. It's also our chance to fulfill our duty to present a progress report to the American people who stood firmly behind us, and to meet our obligation to share the lessons we've learned in case others may benefit from them. One of the recurring themes in my first State of the City address was the vision I had for Grand Forks to determine its own future. I called for Grand Forks to renew its efforts and be reborn as a destination city. We imagined the possibilities, and the people of Grand Forks have embraced and adopted that vision. Together we have renewed the very idea of Grand Forks. The result is an interwoven set of distinct accomplishments with a common thread. Be the focal point, the premier venue, the destination city. We are the destination for visitors and commerce, a destination for families and young people, a destination for new and expanding industry, a destination for research and education, a destination for innovation. Yes, we have been renewed, and yes, we have been reborn as a destination city. Grand Forks, a great place to live, learn, work, and play. Affirmation keeps mounting. Just this last week, the Ralph Engelstad Arena announced that it will be hosting the exciting World Men's Curling Championships in April 2008. And Peter Haga told me you never say curling without saying exciting. So it must be the curlers. Once again, another world-class event at our world-class arena. And the Alaris Center. Let me offer my congratulations to the fine facility and the Event Center Commission for their financial achievements. Last year, I approved a study by Dr. Blackwell of the Bureau of Economic Research at the University of North Dakota that produced market data relevant to the Alaris Center's economic impact on our community. The Commission has focused on its budget and getting the books into the black. We appreciate the work of the Commission for their leadership and their success, just as we appreciate the time and hard work of all the commissions, committees, and boards that guide our community through their respective entities. Along with the most notable stand our City Council members, could you please rise? And your efforts are marked by thoughtful discussion, transparent deliberation, and sometimes tough but necessary decisions. You represent us well, and I thank you. Our community has gotten to where we are because of the character of our people. This character is the blending of a heritage of modest pragmatism and a revered work ethic, with a spirit of innovation and a readiness to celebrate success. That last part is sometimes overlooked, celebrating our success. It's important because we have experienced success in Grand Forks. The evidence is clear. Our community sales tax collections are setting records, and the collections for February were the highest ever at $1.9 million. That's more than 13% above the previous record. Our building construction values continue on record pace, and the total value for construction increased again from $119 million in 2005 to $157 million in 2006. Grand Forks retail commerce continues to diversify and has experienced tremendous growth in many areas. Our residential numbers are now projected at over 54,000, signifying a growth that constantly stretches the very borders of the city. Another area of obvious growth is in the industrial park. This is growth fueled by strong leadership in the Grand Forks Economic Development Corporation, the Growth Fund, urban development, and business partners like LM Glass Fiber, Cirrus Design, and so many others. To plan and prepare for this growth, we must allow for expansion of the 48th Street South to 32nd Avenue South. More than 1,200 new jobs were created in the industrial park in the last 2 years, and the average wages are climbing, this year topping $30,000 mark. Within City Hall, we continue to focus on being fiscally responsible. Our departments, and specifically our department heads, have the flexibility, support, and the commitment to their jobs that make it possible to continue to look at new and more efficient ways of doing business. In the day-to-day operations, I'm ably assisted by our City Administrator, Rick Duquette, and our solid team of department heads. Won't you please stand? Thank you. And our city employees also deserve a lot of credit, not only for the jobs they do, but also for their part in helping preserve the bottom line. The new safety policy implemented last year is saving the city over 60% of its workman's comp premium. It has been reduced from $700,000 to just over $400,000. We as residents, as taxpayers, appreciate your dedication to your jobs and to the community. Of course, Grand Forks has issues like any other city that must be addressed. One of the biggest challenges is property tax relief. Property taxes are impartial. One way or another, we all feel the sting. In the end, more than anything, we want to know that we're getting the best value for our dollar. But we also need to remember that the services we've come to expect city government to provide come with a price tag. Take, for example, the snowstorm we had 2 weeks ago. That snow was cleared in hours, not days. And imagine what would happen if we did not have that support. But that support and work comes with a price tag. We expect that to happen. We expect nothing less. Services do cost money. Imagine what our snowstorm response, garbage collection, mosquito control, or safety numbers would be like if we purposely shortchanged them. I've consistently said that the city government's prime objective is public safety. We have the commitment to be not only a great place, but a safe place to live, learn, work, and play. That means making sure our public safety personnel, our police, fire, 911, and health crews have the resources and training to serve you well. In 2006, the number of reportable crimes was down 10% here in Grand Forks, still only 1/4 of the national average. Last year, I pledged to support the continuing effort to be America's safest city, and I applaud the efforts of our police and fire departments in helping us reach that goal. Thank you, gentlemen. That's why last year I supported funding the Coordinated Community Response Program and all its partners, and this year we support Representative Glassheim in his valiant effort to extend funding. It's why we undertook the development of a new regional public safety training center last year. With the City Council's continued vision and support for that project, as well as their keen attention to detail, we've shaped a solid plan of action. These are just some of the programs and services that residents of Grand Forks have come to expect from their city government. Those that continue to make Grand Forks a great and safe place to live, learn, work, and play. And we expect that place to be affordable. I've called for a goal of reducing the tax you pay for the value of property to 2%. And 2% is a regional benchmark that meets the needs of the citizens while allowing for growth. We were at 2.3% last year. We're at 2.18% this year, and that's progress. That's the right direction. We will reach our goal, but we do so responsibly so that it does not affect our quality of life. We also don't delude ourselves believing sustainable and meaningful property tax is solely within the purview of local entities. It's a statewide concern. We are in constant communication with our Grand Forks legislatures and the entire state legislature. We support them as they address the problem and address it where it will make the most impact, and that's funding North Dakota's primary education. I'm confident, together with Governor Hoeven and the legislature, a meaningful, sustainable, and responsible solution to our property tax issues will be achieved. As you see, we've made progress on the city budget, but we can go further. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we are ready to launch our community's 6-year plan. This plan allows for community participation and incorporates a long-term perspectives to help us set funding priorities, establish priorities that policies that meet these priorities, and a mechanism to review them over time. With community input, it also allows us to clearly set benchmarks for levels of service that match our expectations. It allows us to plan for growth and level out the peaks and valleys of annual budgets and provide steady expectation of annual cost to residents. We've already set up a City Council work session, March 28th. You'll be hearing much more on this plan in the days and weeks ahead. But remember, this isn't just my 6-year plan. It's our 6-year plan to sustain growth. Our community also needs to address the issue of a workforce shortage. I believe one of the best ways is with more and better housing. To effectively attract a larger workforce that is demanded by our growing business community, we must provide adequate housing. After all, a home is where a job sleeps. But we're doing more. We're addressing the entire continuum of housing to address not only workforce housing, but homelessness, neighborhood preservation, and innovative mixed-use development, and housing options for our seniors. I'll tell you more about that in just a few minutes. We have committed to develop a 10-year plan to end long-term homelessness in our community as part of the national initiative endorsed by Governor Hoeven. In addition, we're partnering with the Housing Authority, Red River Community Action, and others to preserve our neighborhoods, one home at a time. I want to invigorate this effort with the assistance from private partners like financial institutions and further develop low-interest loan programs for purchase and rehab that serve our neighborhoods. We'll continue to work with developers like JLG and Shore & Associates who have proven track records for innovative housing opportunities. Instead of poking a finger at the issue of housing, we'll put our collective hands around it. And what better illustration of good planning, diverse strategies, and overall success is there than the downtown Grand Forks? This past year, we saw ground broken and considerable progress made in the brownstone condos on North 3rd Street, and plans continue on even more downtown residential developments. Reliable friends like Bonzers, Sanders, and Urban Stampede have welcomed newcomers like the Toasted Frog, Gillies, Dakota Harvest Bakers, Joe Blacks, and most recently Rhombus Guys. The excitement downtown is palpable, and we must continue to feed it. I'm proud to announce that we have a working pilot model for an artist-in-residence program now in progress with local artist Adam Kemp. At no current cost to the city, a collaboration of partners, including the North Valley Arts Council, UND, and area artists, have all committed to develop a successful program that further invigorates our expanding regional arts scene. And I predict that in 5 years, this will be a model program for the nation. The downtown is also a natural gateway to one of our best new attractions, the Greenway. Looking back at my first day of the city address, the Greenway was a vision. Now it's a reality. Our shared 2,200 acres of trails, facilities, bike paths, playgrounds, sledding hill, all the other healthy opportunities are a national model, and for good reason. To manage the Greenway, we put a financial plan in place, and an operational plan is on the horizon. With the help of the City Council, we will have a plan later this spring to ensure this marvel of flood mitigation, foresight, and innovation continues to serve our residents and our visitors. Grand Forks also has coordinated with our landfill partners throughout the region to find a feasible and economical solution to our common issue of waste management. We serve about 110,000 customers. That's a whole lot more than just the people within the city of Grand Forks. Our staff and officials have done an outstanding job to deliberately explore and diligently explore all the possibilities and refrain from putting all our eggs in one basket. In this matter, like so many regional matters, we have both a duty and a leadership role to serve on this issue, and we accept both willingly. This past year has brought encouraging news and a spark of fresh hope regarding the future of one of our closest community partners, the Grand Forks Air Force Base. We are poised to capitalize on the implementation of the impending Unmanned Aerial System mission, ready to spin off industries and support functions that may come with it. To keep things moving, a UAS Action Summit hosted by Senator Dorgan is taking place later this month. And leading the effort for spin-off potential is the Enhanced Use Lease, spearheaded by our congressional delegation and by Jerry Grunwald and the go-getters at the EERC. Furthermore, we will keep the pressure on to obtain the mission for the next generation of tankers. After all, we're Grand Forks. We know tankers, and our base is ideal for the KCX tanker mission. Of course, we would not be in this position without the tenacity of the Council on Military Relations, and certainly the invaluable work of John Marshall, Rocky Graziano, and Don Fisk. Would you please stand to be recognized? And of course, in this and so many other matters, our debt of gratitude to our congressional delegation continues to grow. Senator Conrad, Senator Dorgan, and Representative Pomeroy, thank you. 2006 again demonstrated that churning in the center of our community as an engine for diversity, research, innovation, and education is, of course, the University of North Dakota. I want to say welcome to UND President Carl Pittella and his wife Adele. Would you please stand? And we learned recently that Mr. President's going to retire this year, and we do hope to see you again when Adele comes to town to defend her title as the Iron Chef of Grand Forks. So you're welcome back. And congratulations also go to runner-up Kim Holmes, who was very gracious in defeat. So President Pittella has led us through an unprecedented stage of development for the university. In partnership with public and private entities, we have experienced unthinkable opportunities that have become reality. For example, the university worked with the city, the Economic Development Corporation, and the state of North Dakota and several private entities last year to move forward with the research, enterprise, and commercialization of the REACT Park. This facility and surrounding campus exemplifies the idea of a destination for cutting-edge research and private enterprise. It's one piece of the puzzle that comprises over $81 million in sponsored research in fields like biojet fuel, hydrogen technology, nanotechnology, unmanned aerial systems, and biomedicine. We're also well aware that the real value of the university comes from its people. They add to the texture and vibrancy of our community. We continue to work with the students of the university as community members to help engage them as a critical element of our community. In addition to the biannual City Council UND Student Senate meetings, we have implemented monthly subcommittee meetings. We communicate with mutual respect, evident in recent disagreements, as we continue to construct workable solutions. And it's interesting to think I've said the word innovation at least 10 times without saying the words Bruce Joving. Is that a record? So innovation is about building the bridges between what exists and what will exist. No one is building better bridges than our people in Grand Forks. Last year, UND was ranked number 8 out of 700 undergraduate business schools offering entrepreneurship by the Princeton Review and Entrepreneur Magazine. And in November 2006, Governor Hoeven announced a new initiative to foster entrepreneurship and innovation statewide, www.innovatend.com. And who again is helping fuel this surge? The Center for Innovation, UND, and Grand Forks. Our community voiced eagerness last year to be part of a national energy solution, to be a world player in the area of renewable energy. We must believe we can do both. We as a community can make choices that support renewable energy promotion and manufacturing like ones in BBI International, LM Glass Fiber, and the EERC. And there's Jerry right in the middle of the world-changing events again. Working with the state and our traditional energy partners like Xcel Energy and Nodak Electric, we can leverage our existing resources with our drive for energy innovation. And one of our first steps, I've asked City Administrator Rick Duquette to work with Todd Field and Public Works Director to transition our city fleet to biofuel. So we'll look forward to that. Also, speaking of energy, Governor Hoeven's Centers for Excellence program has generated a staggering amount of energy in Grand Forks and all across the state. UND is itself a center for these centers of excellence. From energy and aerospace innovation, we will continue as a partner in this program and encourage everyone involved to maintain the funding and keep feeding the fires of good job growth and innovation. As an example, Dean Bruce Smith, welcome. The Aerospace Foundation is hosting new groups of Chinese and Taiwanese student pilots to be trained at UND. And this is in addition to the Japanese students and many others in recent years. And I fully anticipate more students from more countries in the near and extended future. We are indeed a destination city. We are without borders. Last year I announced a special focus to strengthen our airport, championed by Council President Gershman and Council Member Brooks. Working with Executive Director Steve Johnson and the Airport Authority, they've made substantial progress. The airport, like the ad campaign says, is indeed close, quick, and now easier. with great ideas like free drop-off parking and a new grant to explore even more opportunities. The Grand Forks Regional Airport is getting the attention it deserves and the opportunities it requires. The Grand Forks Public Information Center once again has led the effort to foster sound communication. Just today, we've launched a brand new user-friendly website which will allow you to watch council meetings, learn pertinent information about Grand Forks, contact a council member, or sign up for newsletters and alerts. Grand Forks Channel 2 has proven to be an invaluable communication resource, airing an array of programs, including council meetings, candidate and legislative forums, public service announcements, and addresses like this one. These are the concrete communication actions we put into place to empower citizens and visitors with the knowledge and tools to be engaged. Now I want to tell you about something that I think is very, very important to me, important to the community, and important to the entire region. As a regional healthcare hub, Grand Forks has always been a proud provider of services that create a high quality of life for senior citizens, or as I like to call them, the maturing population. In addition to health care, we've always had top-notch living facilities, public transportation, and other amenities. As this segment of our population continues to grow, we must innovate new strategies to ensure we are a destination city for the maturing population. By the year 2030, 70 million Americans will be over the age of 65. If current trends continue, the elderly in North Dakota will increase by 58% over the next 20 years. It will represent 23% of the state's population. The fastest growing segment of the maturing population is those over 85. In North Dakota, people over 85 will grow by 2/3 over the next 20 years. If it's not you, it's someone you know. This group will pose new challenges for the delivery of local services such as healthcare, recreation, housing, transportation, employment, safety, and education. Let's face it, we baby boomers have been demanding, haven't we, Kurt? My guess is we'll continue to be demanding. As far as services and opportunities, we must be prepared for their expectations. This will impact every policy and every program we currently have on the books. How do we start this momentous process? I will seek out stakeholders on this issue and with them call for a community conversation that defines specific action. One essential stakeholder is the City Council member Kurt Cruen, who has been a longtime champion of accessible housing in Grand Forks. We must continue to review policies on homestead tax credits and on zoning to allow for things like private services in neighborhoods and providing for types of homes where our residents can age in place. Furthermore, I propose we expedite the conversation on creating a long-term living campus. Envisioned near Kings Walk Golf Course, it will be a campus that maximizes public and private partnerships to create the type of living arrangements where an active, most engaged, and most vigorous people choose to age. It will be a functioning mini-city or village within the city with housing, amenities, recreation, and access to transportation and other public services. For the maturing, a destination city. In this quest, I'm reminded of the words of the poet Robert Browning, "Grow old with me, the best is yet to come. Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be." Let us not also forget those who will help shape our future. For the second year in a row, Grand Forks was named one of the 100 best communities for young people. Last month, the Grand Forks Youth Commission met formally for the first time, and I was thrilled to see their enthusiasm, their intelligence, their raw energy at this commission meeting. And I look forward to working with these young people as they take their rightful place at the table of community planning. And they're going to hold our feet to the fire, so get ready. They got demands and changes, and we're going to make this a place where young people want to age and grow and stay. This body was inspired and fashioned by the Mayor's Cabinet on Young People. I know there are cabinet members in the audience. Would you please stand and be recognized? I want to say thank you and nice work to you all. We can build even more opportunities for our youth and for our residents through relationships like those with our sister and friendship cities, Sarpsborg, Norway, and Kanama, Japan. And Kanama, Japan is the home of our former sister city, Owano, Japan. Both programs are going strong, and we look forward to the students from Kanama joining us in October, just as we look so forward to our Red River Band's trip to Sarpsborg to celebrate the Sutton-Demai celebration. What an opportunity, and it's so much more than music. It's a catalyst for broader thinking and a place on the world stage that will have effects that ripple from the individuals to the university to business to the tenets of our very society. And with our children in mind, we must increase the focus on the issue of minors and alcohol. The Public Service and Safety Committee has done solid work discussing the issue with stakeholders, such as the police department, the mayor's task force on alcohol, the answer, the hospitality industry, but we alone cannot change community attitudes. We have a responsibility as a community leaders to address this issue. And before we have the ultimate responsibility, and we have the ultimate responsibility to do so, before our community is faced with a tragedy like so many others have experienced. I call on everyone in the community to join in an awareness campaign, letting our children know we care about them. And as far as underage drinking goes, it's not okay. There it is. In the end, our community isn't about facilities or buildings. It isn't about programs or functions. It's the people and the spirit they embody. Like Randy Newman, who recently received the Chamber's Henry Havig Award for Community Service. People like our international friends, Steiner Opstad and Leo Ledachowski, who believe in us and with us, imagine and build great things. Great work, Leo. Great. Where's Leo? Great work. It's looking good. And it's taking tips from a few others in the community, like fourth grader Mayor for a Day, Tom Johnson. It's celebrating the artistic soul in all of us through efforts like the Artwise tiles in Town Square and the displays in the airport, City Hall, and the Alaris. It's the BMX organizers whom we worked with last year to find a practical home for their track, a track I called for in last year's city address that didn't have to happen, but one that this year will be hosting a major regional tournament. It's people like all of you here who faithfully serve on boards and commissions, and all of you who serve on PTOs, coach youth sports, or dedicate your fundraising drives to efforts that address needs in our community. And it's recognizing people like the Maidenberg Labyrinth and the Whopper John Little Boat Ramp, and perhaps this year, maybe Sam Silverman Town Square. I'm so very proud of what the people of Grand Forks have accomplished. Grand Forks has embraced its place as a destination city, a great place to live, learn, work, and play. We don't presume growth, we anticipate it. We don't hope for it, we plan for it. And with the spirit of innovation, we celebrate our success. In this year, so well suited to reflection, we can look back on a time without the Alaris Center and without the Canad Inns Hotel and Destination Center. We can think back to a time without Kohl's, without Lowe's, without a Best Buy, without a Greenway, without downtown brownstones, without a new UAV mission for the base, without a golf course called King's Walk, a time without new schools and without strong business community partnerships, without 100-foot wind turbine blades manufactured in Grand Forks, and without 1,000, then 2,000, then 3,000 locally built Cirrus airplanes. Look at where we've been and look at where we are. We are in a historic moment. You're doing great, Grand Forks, but I'm challenging you. Keep it up. We've got more to accomplish. Help me keep that momentum going and help us fulfill our vision as we continue to grow our future together. Thank you. That's it. Well, thank you.